Good afternoon, everybody. As you'll be aware, the Australian Government has made some further announcements and brought in some further restrictions. And while we have tried very hard to respond to those and put some things into place, the reality is that we are guided by their directions. Obviously, the main direction that they've put out last night, apart from the social gathering number, has been that they are now strongly recommending that everybody should be staying home as much as possible. On that basis, we've had to adjust our response to this crisis by now saying to all families, please, if it is at all possible, we would like you to keep your children home. That means that we are moving into a slightly different phase. As opposed to just staying open for as many as possible, we are now asking you as families to, wherever possible, make the arrangements so that your children do not in fact come to school. Specifically, we want to let you know that this applies for the next few days because we are going to bring forward some of our determinations. The first of these is that formal lessons at Tyndale will cease Wednesday afternoon at the end of the normal school day this week. That is the 1st of April. And no, this is not an April Fool's moment. We are actually going to be bringing down the curtain on school at the end of Wednesday afternoon's lessons at our 3 schools. So, what that means is therefore is that Thursday and Friday, the 2nd and 3rd of April, this week, will now be pupil-free days. And we will be using those as much as possible to, one, help our staff continue to develop their at-home programs so that we can be best prepared for term 2. But it will also mean that we have a number of staff who do fit into the high risk and medium risk category where we can now actually help them start working remotely rather than being at school. And it's our responsibility to look after them as much as we can as well. So, as of the end of Wednesday, the only families that will be able to send their children to school, because we will remain open, are those families who, one, are involved in the essential emergency services as described by the government, and secondly, those families who are contacting us to advise us that they have absolutely no other option available to them. I did ask at the end of last week that you contact us as soon as possible to let us know whether you need to take use of that facility. And so we would encourage you, well, probably more than encourage you, we would actually say that you need to let us know by tomorrow afternoon whether you will be utilising those services. That is, you will be sending your children to school from Thursday onwards until the holiday period because you don't have any other options. So please, thank you for those who have already contacted us. We really appreciate that. But if you haven't yet contacted us and you are going to be using the school as a place for your children because you are involved in the emergency services or you have no other options, you must let us know by tomorrow afternoon. You must let us know so that we can put into place arrangements to look after those children. In regards to those children that are sent to us, what I said last week stands. We will not be providing formal schooling for them. We will be providing a program where they can come to school. We will oversee them, but they need to bring as much as possible with them to occupy themselves. We will organise a few outdoor activities just to get them running around in the fresh air. But the reality is that the vast majority of the time they're going to have to be able to look after themselves. They need to bring their own food and drinks. We won't be providing food for them. This is purely a babysitting service to look after them while you are at work. The other thing that's really important is that this will be between normal school hours. That is, it'll be open for business from about 8:15 all the way through to 3:30. Before that time and after that time, you need to find alternative arrangement for your children as you would normally do prior to picking them up or dropping them off for school. Now, what we do have said though is that there will still be opportunities, and I stress an opportunity only, for senior school students at our 3 campuses to still be able to communicate with senior school staff because we recognise that, especially for our Year 12s, they are now missing a number of days of face-to-face schooling. And while we will try to set up things as much as possible, we know that they will definitely be anxious about that, as you will be as their parents and caregivers. So there will be those opportunities. However, please understand that our staff will be using these days to work on their programs, and we need to move away from this dualistic approach that they're doing at the moment, and that is trying to set up an at-home program as well as running classes. They won't be able to do that from Thursday onwards because there'll be no classes to run. But they still will be working on the programs. So you contacting them is important, but you'll need to be patient with them because there'll be other things that they need to do. We will also have some teachers who will actually be home, and we already have a number who are home already, and they will need to be doing this accessing remotely from there as well. And so we want to make sure that we don't have an unrealistic expectation of what staff are going to be able to do prior to the commencement of the holidays. If you have any questions at all about that, please do not hesitate to contact your campus or sub-school principal and have those conversations with them in regards to what this looked like. Two other things very quickly. Next term, we normally have a pupil-free day at the beginning of term 2. There will be no pupil-free day. We're having a number of them now. We will be going straight into formal at-home online learning as of Monday, the 27th of April. So please be aware that school will start on the Monday, not the Tuesday. Secondly, we will be moving to a purely at-home online program. There will be no mixture of what we do. So even those children who still come to school will have to be accessing it remotely rather than there being any formal lessons. So it's really important for everyone to understand that as of the beginning of next term and for the whole of next term, we will be running our at-home online program for all students. So if you have any questions, while we're trying to iron out any little bugs or wrinkles here, if you've got any questions, please send them through so that we are best set up for next term, because that is the only program we'll be running. In that respect, what I've said about the next week applies to next term as well. The school will remain open physically for those families involved in the emergency services and for those families who have no other option. But they will be learning online. It won't be a holiday program. They will be at school online through their programs that have been set up for them. So it's going to be very different next term. So even those children coming to school will need to be on their devices or working on the packs that have been sent home, and they will then be able to forward any assignments, any work to the teachers. The teachers will organise that and get it back to you. So there will be no formal lessons at our 3 schools. Finally, I just want to thank all those families who have already contacted us to indicate that they may be facing some financial difficulties during this period. We recognise that this virus and the economic circumstances we are in means that some families are going to be doing it tough. Thank you so much for contacting us, and we are working really hard on coming up with an option for you that will enable you to get through this time. For those families who are also feeling anxious about this, please, I cannot stress this enough, please contact us. We are going to be working incredibly hard to make sure that none of you are placed in a situation where you're having to choose between looking after your families at home and wondering where you can send your children to school. It is really important that you understand that we do not want to lose one family through this period. We want to work with you, support you, and enable all of us to come out the other side, continuing on as we would have had this never happened. So please do not hesitate to contact your sub-school, your campus, or the financial people that you know to have that conversation with them so that we can look after you. This is a time when we're going to go into uncharted territory. Most of us are going to be at home for an extended period of time, and it's going to be really important that we work out how to look after ourselves, but how to look after each other. We've not done this before. It's something new for Australia, and we're going to have to work out how to do community via this medium. We want to say to you that Tyndale is wanting to step into that space. We want to continue to look after you, to connect with you, to have conversations with you. We're going to all have to help each other not go mad from the isolation. We're going to have to look after each other in a really positive but different way. So I want to encourage you, keep reaching out to us, keep communicating with us, keep connecting with us, and we'll be doing the same so that we all get through this together. I don't really want to quote from High School Musical, but I do want to say that we're going to walk this journey together. We're going to have to persevere through this together. And I want to encourage you to keep praying for each other, keep committing all of this to God. We believe that He holds us in the palm of His hand, and we're going to be praying for you and committing you to Him during this time. So God bless you. We'll be in contact again soon, I'm sure, but we are with you. We are in this together. God bless. We'll see you soon. Thanks.